Hey everybody, I got an update on my PS2s. I pulled them all out of the attic a couple weeks ago and found that after about 3 years in storage, literally every single one of my disk drives had stopped working, which kind of stepped me up in my process of troubleshooting and or replacing my floppy drives. Now if you guys have PS2s, you know that the drives are a bit of a problem. They're known to be not very reliable with age, mostly due to capacitor failure. They're also kind of rare and difficult to replace, especially if you have a PS2 model 25 or 30, that's the older version, that has the 720 kilobyte 3.5 inch floppy disk with a big button like this. Mine has the edge connector here too, which makes it not interchangeable with any of the 1.44 meg drives that they put into a bunch of the other PS2s. Well, this was a pretty big problem until recently. I know that I'd seen a couple guys had fabricated adapters and now are successfully running Gotek drives in later model PS2s, but I hadn't seen anybody do one for this particular model 25 yet. Now, I'm on the PS2 groups on Facebook. I actually made a PS2 model 25 and 30 group for guys like us recently, if you want to check that out. But the answer to all of our problems with the Gotek is this. If you get on this website, it's TexElec. They have made a PS2 standard floppy adapter. The Model 25 isn't specifically listed in his compatibility yet because I believe he made his products with the server guys in mind and maybe just hadn't tried one out yet. Now I'll tell you, if you put this into your Model 25 and you get a Gotek drive, it's not going to work off the bat, out of the box. That's because the firmware on these things from the factory doesn't really like to play with your PS2. I tried it. I tried with the standard firmware. I tried all kinds of jumper settings. See, the thing that would get you is it almost works. You'll get random failures. You'll get it'll boot up and it'll look like it's going to work, but then you'll go to read the drive and it won't read the drive correctly under any circumstance. Trust me, I tried them all. Even if you put 720 kilobyte disk images onto it, it's still not going to work right. And I think that's because regardless of the disk size, it's still going to report itself as a 1.44 meg drive. Now they do make some Gotek drives, which I saw on eBay, that are marketed as 720K. They might work out of the box. In that case, if somebody wants to try it without flashing it, you probably just plug this adapter into the back of the drive and plug it into your computer and it might just work. But if you want to know how it works guaranteed, you're going to need to basically find this software. It's a firmware upgrade called FlashFloppy. It's free. It usually, for me, I soldered a couple pins together and then flashed it via USB. It really wasn't too bad. I'm just not very good at soldering. I got kind of giant hands and small little things don't really suit me very well. But after I installed the FlashFloppy software, I tried it out and unfortunately it didn't work at first. But what I realized is I needed to put a 720 kilobyte disk image onto the drive. When I did that, it worked immediately. So I was able to finally pull out my PS2. Now I did confirm this did run the PS2's startup disk, which I ran an image of. I was concerned if IBM's proprietary disk images might not work off of a floppy emulator, but the one for this 25 worked, which is great. Because when I plug this in, when I run these on my other two Model 25s are the 25286 and the 25SX. You know, you have to run the setup disk on those things if the battery dies, or else the computer's pretty much bricked. It won't interface to any of its peripherals or anything. So, I mean, this is a great update for me. Now, I'll point out a couple of other things. So I have all three of my failed drives from all three of my PS2s. I'm not throwing them away. I actually ordered capacitors. I'm going to have my good friend Keith, which helps me out with some of my projects and also makes excellent repair videos, attempt to do some capacitor replacements for me. And he's going to make detailed videos of the replacements in the exact drives that'll probably help everybody out. He's also helping me make a floppy adapter so that I can use Gotek Emulator in my other two PS2s, which use it looks like a standard floppy connector, but it's proprietary. Don't plug your drives into there because something will get burnt or broke. That's mostly because on a regular disk drive, you have a bunch of ground pins on the bottom here. PS2 got rid of the Molex connector and sends power for the drive over the pins that are usually ground on a regular drive. So if you plug a regular drive in, it's liable to short out your power supply or fry the disk drive, or you might have all kinds of problems. Now let's talk about cosmetics here. Obviously I prefer to have the regular drive for cosmetics. If you guys don't want to have the look of this Gotek floppy thing sticking out of the front of your computer, what I've determined is that if you are running a compact flash hard drive or no hard drive, what you could do is just leave your dead disk drive over here and then put your FlashFloppy drive back here behind the bezel, and your computer will still look 100% stock, which is cool. I might actually do that if my drive is unable to be repaired. I was thinking I might go to a internal compact flash hard drive solution and then just put my dead drive in the base so it looks more like factory. Okay, something I wanted to point out is that since this adapter is designed for your edge connector on the back of your drive, what you end up doing is plugging your motherboard into this and then running this to your floppy cable and then running the floppy cable to your Gotek drive, which ends up with a whole bunch of stuff to stuff back into your computer. Now I'll also tell you this, it's super important that you insulate this board right here, because it wasn't intended to be like laying loose inside of a metal case. So what I did is grab some 3M Super 33 electrical tape and wrapped it around about 4 or 5 times before I carefully stuffed the entire setup into the very back of this big drive here. And then as far as getting the drive positioned so that you can use it easily from the front, I did something kind of silly. I was trying to find something of the right space to do it, but I basically got 3 bad floppy disks, which I have a pile of, and I double-sided taped them together to make a spacer. And then I double-sided taped my Gotek drive to the upper roof of the PS2's drive slot. That way, that gave it just the right amount of spacing to where I can get my USB stick in and out of there. But I do have to use a toothpick, which I keep next to my computer to adjust the buttons there. But I mean, it works. It gets me functioning. I could do fun things like install Windows 3.0. It's much easier to transfer images onto a USB stick and stick it into your computer and run the installation program. Now Windows 3 is pretty cool on this. Now it will only run in the 640 by 480 high-res mode at black and white, which is fine. You can do cool things like give yourself an initial D wallpaper. But I'm hoping to see more of you guys installing these things into your computers. I'm glad that something has came around to solve this problem of flaky drives for us. And I'm looking forward to getting my other PS2s working and then digging into my Model 80, which I recently got a power supply for, finally. I'll catch you guys soon. I'm really digging into my PS2 projects right now, so expect more videos about that.